Whilst unpleasant to consider, death is something that we all face in life. In the event of your death, what would you want to happen to the assets you leave behind? Have you considered the possible financial implications that your death may have on your family or friends? In this video, we want you to think for a moment about the steps you can take now to give you peace of mind that in the event of your death, your assets will fall into the right hands. Today we're with Rhys Higgins, an advisor at Crest Financial Services who specialises in estate planning. Thanks for joining us today, Rhys.
You're welcome, Andrew.
Now, straight to the big question. How do we ensure that our money passes to the right people at the right time on our death?
Yeah, Andrew, really the only way you can make sure that your money does go to the right people at the right time is by putting in place a written estate plan. We find that part of estate plans, the best thing to use are wills, powers of attorney. There's some of the tools we use. Getting a good picture of the assets and the debts that an individual may have, and also how their super and pensions interact with that estate plan.
Okay, so you were talking about starting the conversation. What kind of conversation should we be having, and who should we be having those conversations with?
Yes, certainly. So the important thing is to actually have a think about yourself, how you want your money to flow in the event that you pass away. Mm-hmm. And when I say start the conversation, just talking with loved ones, especially spouses, because quite often people haven't had that discussion, which is natural because it's not something you think about every day, but it is important to just start making people aware or having a think about how you want your assets to flow. The other key thing is to start talking to your professional advisors, so solicitors, accountants and financial planners. As financial planners, we find that we can help facilitate those conversations, especially with the other professionals and other family members. And it just means that everyone's on the same page when it comes to putting in place an effective estate plan.
Okay, so we all know we should have them, but a lot of us don't, wills. Now, can you just explain a little bit why we need them and how we go about doing them?
Yes, certainly. Wills are a crucial part of any estate plan. Mm-hmm. Basically, it is your written will and testament as to how you want your money to flow in the event that you pass away. The other advantages of will are simply that your estate knows how you want the money to be paid. If you don't have one, the government get to step in and make decisions, and you don't really want that. And also, a will speed up or help facilitate what is already a fairly stressful time in someone's life. If you've lost a loved one, the will just simply means that the money, there's less ambiguity about how it's all supposed to be done.
Rightio. So with power of attorneys, most people have heard about them. Can you just explain a little bit about what they are, the different types and how they're used? Yeah,
again, we use powers of attorney in any estate plan and depending on the situation, but a power of attorney is simply, again, another written document that says I authorise someone to make decisions on my behalf in the event that I can't make those decisions myself. So due to medical incapacity or I'm overseas or something along those lines, you're authorising someone to make those decisions for you. We find them just crucial especially if it's a situation where someone has been admitted to hospital or is in a coma or something like that. Having someone with a medical power of attorney just gives them the ability to deal with doctors as though they're you. Financial power of attorney so that people can make financial decisions for you. And obviously, whoever you're granting this attorney to, you need to be able to trust them.
So it sounds like quite an important tool
in
managing the whole estate. Now, what about somebody's assets and their debts? Like, how do you manage that, and what kind of advice do you give around that?
Yeah, well,
for the estate? Assets
and debts, it's first of all important to figure out what you've got and what you haven't got, because there's no point having a will if there's nothing to give away. So it really is about determining what we've got. But the other aspect is, and often overlooked, is what does our estate need? So there may be financial dependents, children, things like that, whereby the estate will need to actually put in place some insurances to ensure that everyone is equal and gets what they need, whether it's to fund children's education or pay off mortgages and things like that. And later in life too, the other thing with assets, if you've accumulated some significant assets, you want to make sure that they're flowing to the people that you intend the money to go to.
Now, you were talking about ownership being an an important factor. Now, with superannuation, can you tell us a little bit about that? And does it go to the government on our death, or what happens there?
Yeah, again, a great question, and quite a lot of people actually think super does just disappear once you die, but it actually does form part of what you're able to pass on to your family or your estate. The only difference is that super will bypass your will unless you specifically tell it to go into your will, and therefore, if you don't tell your super fund how you want your money to flow upon your death, the super fund actually gets to decide. So they've got a certain criteria of people they can pay it to, but they get to decide how the money flows. So what we would recommend and what we put in place is death nominations or binding death nominations to the super fund, which allow you to tell the super fund how you want that money to be paid. And our job is to make sure that they're relevant and binding and in place.
So if they're not in place, can they just pass that on to whoever they please, or?
No, they pass it on to beneficiaries that are stipulated under the SIS Act or the Superannuation Act. So it'll be partners, adult children, minor children, and financial dependents. However, you're far better off telling the super fund how you want it to be paid.
Just to speed up the process.
Yeah, to speed up the process, and also so there's again less ambiguity on how those funds are paid out.
All right, thanks very much, Reece.
You're welcome.
Now, we hope this information has helped you to better understand estate planning. If you'd like to find out more and need support, it just makes sense to talk to the people in the know. Crest Financial Services help people just like you every day to understand estate planning. With a lifetime of experience, they have a wealth of knowledge to help you make the right decisions for you and your loved ones. For further information on estate planning, see the information and resources available at crestfs.com.au or speak to one of their experienced advisors today.